from the newsroom of AI Radio TV News. Tuesday, July 11, 2023. Can't fall asleep? The reasons might surprise you, and here's what you can do about it. If you're anything like me, there are nights where, for seemingly no reason, we're unable to fall asleep, even when we slept well the night before. There's no worse feeling than writhing under sweaty sheets, feeling the frustration and panic set in as morning draws closer. I'm going to be so tired tomorrow, I'd tell myself. Damn it, brain, I demand you relax this instant. As it turns out, whipping my anxieties into a frenzy is the exact opposite of what sleep experts advise. Most will struggle with sleep occasionally, and fortunately, as our insight into the brain grows, there are strategies to overcome this. Here's why sleep can seem so elusive some nights, and what doctors recommend when it comes to hitting the hay. What happens in the brain during sleep? Falling asleep is not an on or off switch but rather a gradual process, according to Charles Morin, a clinical psychologist, Canada Research Chair in Behavioral Sleep Medicine and professor at Montreal's Université Laval. If all goes well, from the moment we lie down and close our eyes, a sense of relaxation builds as our brain activity slows, becoming more orderly as we fall asleep, he said. Throughout the night, our brain cycles through 4 stages, 3 non-dreaming stages, followed by a dreaming state known as rapid eye movement, REM, sleep. The whole process takes about 90 minutes before repeating. The non-dreaming phase of sleep progressively grows deeper, and the brain's neurons more synchronized, until it reaches stage 3, known as deep sleep or slow-wave sleep. Studies show this stage is associated with the restoration of physical energy, Morin said. You're more likely to wake up with aches and pains if you miss this phase. Meanwhile, REM sleep is vital for emotional processing. When we don't get enough, we're more likely to wake in a bad mood, he continued. Both REM and slow-wave sleep are important for processing and storing the memories of the day, he said. Some scientists think slow-wave sleep is where the most restorative part of sleep occurs, said Eva Libman, a clinical psychologist and co-director of the Behavioral Psychotherapy and Research Unit at Montreal's Jewish General Hospital Department of Psychiatry. More specifically, the first 2 cycles of slow-wave sleep, corresponding to the first 3 to 4 hours of sleep, are the most helpful. Those 3 or 4 hours are what we call core sleep, and are what we believe an individual absolutely needs in order to remain sort of healthy, Libman said, though that doesn't mean the rest isn't important. Why can't I fall asleep at night? There are a wide range of factors impacting our sleep, with perhaps the greatest contributor being stress, anxiety or depression, Morin said. Stress is incompatible with sleep. Your mind and your body has to be in a relaxed state, he said. This is disrupted by worry or by physical discomfort. So, me demanding my brain to shut up and go to sleep had the opposite effect, instead exciting and activating my mind at a time when it should be winding down. Often this leads to a vicious cycle, where we can't sleep because we're stressed and we're stressed because we can't sleep, Morin continued. This is made worse by our thoughts tending to intensify as we lie in bed with no distractions, most probably because there's much less stimulation coming to your brain, Libman said. These thoughts don't have to be negative either, even if you have very vivid but pleasant thoughts, that's going to affect your sleep quality or your falling asleep. Azadeh Yadolahi is a senior scientist studying sleep at University Health Network's Kite Research Institute in Toronto. We each have an internal clock known as our circadian rhythm, which controls much of our bodily functions including sleep, Yadolahi explained. This clock responds to light, especially blue light, meaning if we're exposed to bright lights before bed, like viewing a computer or phone screen, that's inadvertently telling our brains it's morning, and to suppress sleep signals in the body like melatonin. Along the same lines, our bodies are built around daily routines. If our sleep schedule is disrupted, like during daylight saving time or even sleeping in on weekends, our sleep quality will be impacted, the experts say. It's why shift workers who work non-traditional hours, according to research, are at an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. During the day, getting regular exercise and eating properly can help you sleep better, Yadolahi said, but not for the reason you'd expect. When we eat a diet high in salt, it can cause more fluid to surge into our tissues, leading to swelling in the neck. This can then tighten our airways, contributing to snoring and leading oxygen levels to decrease, waking us up. Similarly, when we stay sitting for long periods of time, fluid begins to pool in our legs. Lying down, this liquid then rushes into our upper bodies and necks, causing the same problem. But when we exercise, our muscle movements help push this fluid evenly throughout our bodies. Walking for half an hour, every day, can really boost the sleep quality and can even improve sleep by about 20 to 25%, Yadolahi said. That said, exercising too close to bedtime is also a no-no, as a workout can bring our body temperatures up. That clashes with our internal clock, which tries to lower body temperature before bed. You're basically raising your body temperature, and that contradicts the pattern that you need to sleep, Yadolahi said. What can I do to get better sleep? Now we know the major factors keeping us awake, we can incorporate habits into our daily routines to mitigate them. For example, if you didn't sleep well the night before, napping during the day can make it worse by disrupting your internal clock, Morin said. Instead, try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. On top of reinforcing your circadian rhythm, the tiredness we feel through the day can help lull us to sleep. If you're wide awake in bed after 15 to 20 minutes, Morin recommends getting out of bed and the bedroom to do something else, like reading under a dim light, until you feel sleepy again. There's no point in forcing sleep, you can't do it, he said. Also consider reducing the amount of light you're exposed to in the evenings, and avoid screens in the hours before bed. If you must use electronics, consider employing a blue light filter, Libman said, although all kinds of light can be disruptive. Otherwise, Libman recommends wearing sunglasses in the evenings if it's still sunny out, and keeping your bedroom dark. A little light is okay, you probably don't need blackout curtains, she said. For the same reason, Libman recommends against turning on the bathroom light when we get up to pee at night. Consider buying a low-power night light for the loo instead. It can feel impossible controlling our thoughts sometimes, but there are strategies for this too. Meditating or practicing relaxation techniques before bed can help, but Libman prefers reading. A novel by lamplight is less harsh than bright electronic screens, and a story helps preoccupy the brain. It interrupts what your brain is doing by itself, and puts your attention on something else. And that's a very good way to help people disengage from the world around them and eventually fall asleep. Similarly, Libman recommends listening to audiobooks, radio or podcasts, but not e-books, because of the bright screens, or music, not as distracting as following a story. It's important to get some sort of exercise in every day, with the best time to do it being the late afternoon, Yadolahi continued. Along the same lines, it's better to use a blanket in a cooler room rather than cranking up the thermostat, as our body temperatures drop in the lead up to sleep. Finally, Morin recommends against taking therapeutics for sleep, including melatonin. Drugs are not a sustainable long-term solution for insomnia, he said. There's no sleeping pill that can give you back natural sleep. When should I see a sleep doctor? It's entirely normal to struggle with sleep now and then, but if it's consistently taking you more than half an hour to fall asleep, you should consult a doctor, Yadolahi said. If you're consistently waking up feeling fatigued despite seemingly sleeping through the night, especially if you're young, consider seeing a doctor, Libman said. This could be a warning sign of sleep apnea, a common sleep disorder, or other things going wrong during the night. Sleep is just as important, if not more important, than the perfect diet and exercising, Morin said. You have to make sleep a priority in your life. For the AI Radio TV News Broadcast Network and REL-MAR McConnell Media Company, I am Brooke Maguire.